Bonji Vakorja, Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat, and this is Fireside Chat 143, where I'm in conversation with a member of the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. But first, let me start with a prayer for peace. Gamara Shiakon, ar fud na crinne. Gamara Shiakon, in our jaili agus in our jirha. Ganairi lin lenarkaj garmaka. Gamij buikas jiv, je chivdaga, spirit chivdaga. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in our homes and in our countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian spirits and guardian deities, for peace. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches from violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb, that our swords be beaten into plowshares, and no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the Holy Mountain, with thanks to John O'Donoghue. So let me see where you all are. Hi, Ricky, deepest, darkest Elmer's End. I must ask you what that means. It's sometime. Hello, Nimi, from a slow spring of Calgary. Actually, it's cloudy now, but it has been warm today. I mean, warm for April by Irish standards. I didn't have to wear a coat. New York, sunny London, lovely. South Wales, Hertfordshire, spent the whole day working in the vegetable garden. Oh, that sounds absolutely lovely. Southern Ontario, rainy. Lapland, the deserts of Utah. I hope it's not too hot for you there. Let me see where other people are. Wyoming, lovely. West Yorkshire, Italy, Canada. Just wonderful to see you all today. And where else have we got? Have we got people from Clare, West Yorkshire? The blessings from Finland, pouring rain, North Hampshire, Oklahoma, brilliant. Anyway, we are going to, it's not often that we go there, but we're, windy Michigan, you poor things, Warrington, Jersey, Norway. Well, we're going to a sister country this evening, we're going to Sweden. And I'd like to introduce my guest this evening, and it's Lillian Lind. So I'll let you say hello to everybody, Lillian.
Hello.
So you're so welcome to join me here for this chat. Matthias Johansson is from Sweden. We're okay, and we have a Norwegian here too, and a few Finns. So the North is being aptly represented on this chat this evening. So just tell us about where you are in Sweden. I don't know Sweden, and I've never been, and I just know we used to have, I still have one, wooden clothes hangers, and written in Irish was An Tulin an Tír a Dhéantar, made in Sweden, and I still have one. So we had Swedish wooden clothes hangers when we were growing up, and I still have one. So that's as close to Sweden as I've been, and now I'm talking to you. So just tell us where you are in Sweden and what your landscape is like.
Well, some people call it North Sweden, but if you look at the map, I am basically south of the middle. So I'm not really north. I am just, it's so long, the country, It's really long. So I feel like I'm north, but I'm not. But it's like, it is a bit colder and more snow here than it is, even like driving a couple of hours down, I'm like above one border when it comes to temperature in the country. So it's, but I like it. I like snowflakes. And I'm lucky enough that this winter we had about 2 feet 60 centimeters of snow. But the good thing was that the ground didn't freeze, before the
Okay.
snow came. So the snow was like a blanket. So when I was shoveling snow, I could see green grass under the snow. So it was still living under there,
Wonderful.
which means that it had melted really quickly this year. So now I can walk on the grass. It's
Oh,
lovely.
beautiful. It's just a comment for Francis, who's in Finland. Most people in Finland have a wooden coat hanger from Sweden, usually Stockholm. They consider it trendy.
Ah,
Thank you for that.
lovely.
That's wonderful. So you have the snow and then the grass underneath it. That's beautiful.
Yes, I had that. Yeah, it was
That's
lovely.
yeah, I can just see in my mind that beautiful contrast of the white and then that green. Beautiful. So, are there mountains near you, forests, or are you in a town, a city?
I live basically in the forest. I got
Ooh,
about what do you call it? Nearly under 3 miles down to the center of the village
okay.
to the food shop, and but I got 2 neighbor houses, so we are 3 houses in a row, and then there's forest around. But it's lovely, and well, there is a road obviously with trucks and things driving past between one village to another, and towns and things. So I just love it to have being able to just walk across the road and pick blueberries and just like that, and having just having the trees all around, just walking around and see it. And in my garden I got vegetable patches and a gazebo and a few trees, but it's lovely. Yeah, I
That's
like it.
beautiful. Gabriella says, that sounds so lovely. Are there also wild animals in the forest?
Yes, I had a was it like, oh, because it was the first time this year, first time I saw a what do you call it, sphinx, the that cat thing with some spots on.
You mean with
Sphinx.
the pointy ears?
Yeah,
Lynx?
yeah. Lynx.
Ah,
Is it? Yeah.
what?
Yeah. It was actually uh, running past on the neighbor's drive-in, and it's quite close to my house. So,
Wow.
and I was like, oh, I've never seen that so close
Yes,
before. So it was lovely. And we got bears and we got wolves, we got moose or elk, whatever you call it,
yeah.
and deers and foxes and lots of crows and lots of ravens flying
Beautiful.
past. The other day when I was walking up north a little bit on the road through the forest, there was 2 ravens who was coming towards me, flying over me, and they were having so much fun together. So I was like, you're going to have fun.
It's interesting. I'm fascinated with it. It wasn't until after my husband died that the ravens came to the garden
Oh,
and were here
yeah.
regular. And but there's a woods nearby, and I don't know if it's the same ravens. They can have a nice area. But I was sitting under a tree that I work with, and it's a pine tree, and
Yeah.
the lower branches have been cut off because it's so old, and up at the front, up at the top, you can see there is a canopy. But there's one
Yeah.
dead high branch, and the 2 of them were there,
Oh,
and they were arguing because I know when they're calling from a distance, you hear one, and then quite away someone is responding. So actually, one is calling out, "Are you there?"
yeah.
or "What's for tea?" and the other one. But these 2 sounded like they were having an argument because it was all the time. I just thought, you
Yes.
talking about yours having fun, and I remember I've
Oh,
said this on chats before, doing a bird language course for a weekend with an American tracker, and I can't remember his name. It's gone from me. And it wasn't recognizing who the birds were; it was what were they saying.
ah,
And it's just fascinating to watch how they communicate. There's alarm calls, or there's feed me calls, or there's just contact calls. Hey, are you there? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm here too, type of thing. So it's
it's lovely.
Catherine says, I have a regular raven in our churchyard and woods nearby. Regularly sits high up as I take food for them at the weekend. Beautiful. Nimi says, Lillian,
Mm.
your home sounds idyllic.
Oh, thank you.
And do the ravens, because Liz says, do ravens have a druid connection? Just asking, as I don't know. So for you, what do ravens signify?
To me, ravens are the clever ones, the old wise things. So I see them as the ravens are the old wise ones, and the crows are sort of in the middle age, and then the smaller ones, the smaller crows, I don't know what they call in English, but there are smaller ones that are more in groups, or in like
Jackdaws.
lots in the.
Jackdaws.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they are around here as well, and I feel like, they are teenagers. it's like that. So I feel like they got lots of wisdom in them, the ravens, but the crows have too. So yeah,
Well, and they're all cousins.
but it's like,
So
I feel like they're wise. It's like got to do with both Vikings and the old myths, old religions, and everything. Mm-hmm.
and they're associated with death, as in they carry the souls of the dead to the other world. Crows and ravens do that. And then Ferdy, it says, often a symbol of omen of death associated with Morrigan. In Norse mythology, they're messengers like Odin's ravens. I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Hugin and Mugen? Or anyway, who fly out and bring back news.
Hugin, yes.
Hugin, okay. Is that right? Okay.
Hugin,
And then
Moonin, yes.
okay. And then John King, who's up in Ardnamurchan, says there's talk of reintroducing the links back into Scotland. And I don't know if they were talking about that in Ireland as well. So, oh, beautiful. So it's interesting, all these connections that, and there's some jokes about wooden clothes hangers as well that I won't go into.
Why not?
So, do you belong to a seed group? Is there one near you, or a grove, or?
Well, no, I have got no one nearby, but because it's too far, it's like a few hours to, Sagabond up north. It's a few hours to get there, and one to the to the west, and some down south. So it's like we are wide apart. So I've never met one here, physically, really.
Ah, okay.
So I miss that. I really miss that. But I think I do remember when I went to Stonehenge years and years ago. I saw a druid standing by there. I think it was at the time, wasn't it? Some kind of was it something against the fact that they were digging up the dead parts, the bodies or something, if I can remember right. I don't know, but there was something about the druids were like against them packing, the bones and putting them away or something, if I remember right. But it was like maybe 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I remember I met one. I said hello. So I seen one.
Okay, so tell us a bit about your background.
Sorry, what?
Your background. Your spiritual background, your family, and then how you came. How you found Druidry, how you found Obod. Just that journey.
Yeah, well, I was born in Sweden, and on the east coast, nearby the sea. And I basically grew up close to nature, because we had we call it the lake, but because it's seawater, but there are islands in the way, so we can't see the shoreline. So we call it the lake when it's like that. And it's like forest and lots of things, nature. And it was a lot of, I sort of grew up with, fairies and things from my very Christian maternal grandmother. She was the most Christian one in the family, but still she was like, when it was misty, she was like, oh, the fairies are dancing on the field, and I was like, yay. But she also got me into writing and stuff. My grandmother, she was like my extra mom when I grew up, and I had lots of family around there. But it was, I sort of got very close to it, because I think I was born like it, because when I was little and we were walking around a lot in the forests, and I saw lots of flowers, and I was like, I only picked one or two. I didn't pick, lots of flowers. I wanted them to be on the ground where they belonged, not having too much in the house. I didn't like that. I never liked that.
Uh-huh.
And, but I did pick a few when I felt like it, stuff like that with the flowers. But I also always talk to animals, talk to worms and things. If I walk on the streets, I've always done that. And I see a worm or, something, and I'm like, oh no, a car is coming. Come on, get off. So I save it and put it on the side of the street. So it's been close to nature a lot. But it's also just the way it is. Yeah.
How did you find Obod then?
Well, first of all, actually, in 1996, I was studying history. I've always been interested in history and old history, old religions, really old stuff. I want to go to the foundation of everything, really. I've always been interested in that. And 1996, I was studying a bit extra in Sweden. And then I got into history. And then I got into the Celts and the Romans. And then I got into Druidry. And I actually went to England to see some friends. And I bought these two, 1996.
By Philip, the Druid tradition and the something.
Philip Cargom.
Kathleen Matthews, the Celtic traditions. Oh, brilliant.
So I studied that and got into that. So, and I fell in love with England when I went to scout camp because I was a scout in the Salvation Army scout group for 12, 13 years. And we got there for camp in 1986, actually, when I was 17. Mm.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Wow.
So I fell in love with England. Loved it.
Oh, wonderful.
So that was the start of it. Yeah. In getting into camp. So.
Okay, there's just a question, just a slight two things. Ferdy, it says there was a group called HAD, Honoring the Ancient Dead, that several druids were involved and concerned in the treatment of human remains from ancient sites. So
that could be it. Yes, maybe. Yes.
And then there's Aaron says, are there special times or places associated with Swedish fairy lore?
Well, I think there are several actually, but I'm not too sure. Haven't dug into that where the places are, because where I grew up and where I was a lot, there was always, we could see things. It was not sort of special places that I know of. Sorry.
You mean you could see them anywhere?
I could see them anywhere. Yeah, if it was misty on the water on the lake or on the sea, or on the, even like the flowers and things could be seen as creatures or fairies or anything. But it's not like we saw them running around like in stories and stuff all the time. But the energy could be there sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so you're in a rural area, and do you work from home, or what do you do for a living?
Well, I work from home actually, because I got my sort of my spirit, and I am a Reiki master that I can do from distance, and I am a past life therapist, which means I can guide people into a past life, if you believe in past lives, or I can actually read the energy of another person and see inside me a past life that the other person have seen. So it's like, channeling the past life thing that I've done for a few years. But it's also tarot cards and things, so just seeing what I can. Mm.
Okay, and all of this is done online now?
Yes, I work on the phone line. That's called Tarot Guides in Sweden. Yes.
All right. Nimi has a question. Does Sweden have a gnome tradition? They've always fascinated her.
A gnome?
Yeah, GNOME. What kind of fairy? Okay. You may not be familiar with the English name. It's It's like dwarves or brownies or
Well, I've dreamt about them, but I haven't seen them, for real. But it's like it is here. We got all sorts of, things that are in history and yeah, been in the sort of lore and the stories and things. So it exists from years ago.
okay, yeah. Tomte,
Sorry,
Tomte is apparently gnome in Swedish.
tomte.
Tom.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't have
They
that.
are the little creatures with a pointy hat.
That's the ones.
And
That's
they yes, and they in the old before Santa came into life, they
yes.
were the ones, well, almost like they were helping out in the barns and things, helping the people to work and stuff like that. Were like
Okay.
little elves helping.
So, and where is it? Taimi says, who's in Finland, they're called Trullit, Trullit, up north.
Trullit. Okay.
I
I didn't know about that.
definitely.
No.
Okay.
Different languages, different parts.
Right, and there's loads of questions for you now. So,
Oh gosh.
Gabriella, do you have any connection with the Sami people? They also have a rich heritage with people who work with energy in past lives.
I haven't got any contact with them, but I do care about them. I've always cared about native people all my life. Like I got into actually the Native Americans. I was part of the Swedish Indian American Association in Sweden in the beginning, or probably end of 80s, beginning of 90s. I went to the European conference in Genoa, 1992, and met lots of Native Americans there. But then we went to Norway in Trondheim, 1993, for the conference there. And there were Sami people and Inuit from Canada and, AIM Native Americans came.
Okay.
So there was lots of stuff. So I cared about them a lot, always. But I haven't had any bloodline, with the Sami people. I haven't seen any of that yet.
And you're too far south, yes?
Yes. Okay. But they can live anywhere, but it's not in their part of the world.
Traditional lands, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sean, who's in Canada, how has your Druidry and past life practice informed each other? Are there parts of your Druidry that come into your profession and vice versa?
It's, I think it's mixed. It's like really mixed. I feel like I've been in a Celt in my past life, so I got it in me. But it's also the, I think if I feel like being close to nature and being in the Druidry is opening up more for seeing the truth, the details, in your head, rather than just looking with the two eyes and just seeing the physical bit. And to me, it has opened up since I started the Bardic grade in December 2020.
Okay.
And I got the first verse in the letterbox on winter solstice on that day. I was like, shoo, I'm supposed to do this.
Oh, beautiful, lovely synchronicity. Beautiful.
But,
so,
yeah.
Okay, so you're 4 years, well, 3 years anyway, in a bit in as a member. How so? Okay, and I'm just talking about Sean there. That question: has your work practice changed in any way? Has it been since you've? There's two questions I have. Has your work changed as a result of becoming a druid, and how has it supported you? So, I mean, there's two questions. I just don't. I don't want to forget one. So, has your work practice actually changed?
I feel like I got little, more into the truth, the core of things during when I was working on it. But I started on this working on this phone line in the spring 2020. So it wasn't that far from starting the Bardic grade. But I feel like I've always had it in me, but I haven't, I have been sort of distracted by other things along the life. But I've already, it's like when I was little, I knew things, but then it happened like a long time future. But one good thing, I think my half brother is watching this now. He's the one that was commenting, Matthias Johansson. He's,
Okay.
when I was little, there's a little story about it. When I was little, I was only girl in the family, but me and my mum. And I said to my mum when I was like maybe 5, 6 years old, Mum, I want an older brother. And my mum was like, well, that's a bit difficult to create right now, she said to me with a joke. And then I just went on like this. And then during the path, when I was 12, she told me that she had been with my dad to visit one of his friends. And she saw a boy who was 1 year old. And he looked very much like my dad. So she was like suspecting that that was his child. And last year, no, over a year ago, I actually got contact. I sent a letter to him because I found his address. I got the details about him and I found his address. I sent a letter and he was curious. I was really happy that he didn't say no to it, that man. And then in the beginning of June last year, I got a message on Messenger saying, hello, little sister, because he got results from DNA that we were siblings. So it was like, when I was little, I knew that I had an older brother. I was wishing for one, and I actually had one, but I didn't know.
So
like,
when you were 5, you saw that little baby, but didn't recognize him as
no,
kin.
I didn't know I had one. I wanted
And
one.
is your father still alive?
No.
And your mother?
My mother's still alive, yes.
So did she suspect that your
Yes.
dad had it? Okay. And then this was
Yes.
confirmed.
Yeah, but that was before they got married and before I was created. So he is it 4 years older than me?
Oh,
So
I
that
thought
was
I
before.
thought he was.
Yes,
I
sorry.
thought he was. Oh, before you were born, she went and saw this 1-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were 5.
No.
And
no.
oh, no, okay, so an older
It's
brother.
okay. It's okay.
So you got the older brother. That is really interesting. My son told me he had a baby sister in my tummy for 2 weeks before I knew I was pregnant.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he would say during the pregnancy, no, she's going to be a girl. I said, well, you don't know that. She told me.
Oh, how amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
that knowing, having such a strong contact with, with spirit is like amazing. Kids can do that. They can know more.
Okay, Matthias says I am the older one. Okay, Matthias.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you for being here, brother.
It's lovely to make those discoveries, and
Mm.
and we're living in a world where this can come out.
Yes.
Because there would have been, I don't know about Sweden, but certainly in Ireland, to have discovered a long lost brother or a newly found brother or sister wouldn't have been, always welcomed with open arms. So it's just lovely to discover siblings and to be
amazing.
open to
Yeah.
that. So, and
It's
you know,
great.
and knowing that you had one before you knew, before you really knew that you
Yes.
did, that knowing is just brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. So,
Cool.
how has Druidry supported you in your life?
It has really, I mean, it calms me down. It stops me from, going into things that in the world that is not really relevant for me. And I'm just like, I just imagine I do meditations about going into the grove and just sitting there with lots of druids around me. And or I go in the forest and just like, oh, trees, I love you. And I can just, I talk to trees, I talk to flowers, I talk to everything in the outside, and even the fire when it's burning. Yeah. But it's like, so I say, I love you, I love you, I love you, So I started more that. I've done that before, but I mean, it's gone more and more. But it's also, it's just like, getting in there and calming down. And also I was quite annoyed when I started the body grade, around the new year, 20 to 21, when Britain left EU. And then in the beginning of 21, then it was difficult to get the mail in the letterbox here.
Oh, yes.
From England. Yeah. So then I got the online instead of, the real paper things. But that was a gift. So for me, everything happens for a reason, because listening to the voices in the, online, and listening to music, and being able to read as well. Oh, that's like, I love it. It's just amazing.
Oh, just wonderful. So you're on the Bardic grade. I tend not to ask that, but you've mentioned it. So you have, well, there's a number of things. You're a writer and you're a poet, and we will get to talk about your book. But some poetry you'd like to share?
I got one that I did last year in spring. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like spring feeling. And it is, I am a seed in the dirt. I only have 2 leaves so far, and my roots are weak. But I can feel the energy the earth is giving me. I can feel the nourishment that the earth is feeding me. I can feel the energy that the universe is giving me. I can feel the warmth the sun is embracing me with. I stretch myself and follow the sun during the day. At night, I enjoy the dampness in the dark to help me grow. I will grow. I will bloom.
Those 2 very powerful last lines, aren't they just lovely? Thank you.
Thank you. And there's another one that me and my grandma was doing when I was very little, probably, because I found her, I don't know if you can see her handwriting.
Oh, lovely.
Look at the handwriting that she did. It's probably maybe 50 years ago. But she loved doing things, and I translated it to English somehow.
Beautiful.
And then I'm gonna just, because every other line is me and every other line is my grandma. So I'll point to her when it's her line, and I point to me when it's my line. So it's like, Lillian is now a sick little lass. This morning she sat on the sofa a mess. She has a throat so sore, but dancing on the floor. A bit sad to sit inside, but that is life's slide. Tomorrow she well again. Then she can meet her little friend.
How old were you? What age did you say you were when she wrote that?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think because I didn't write anything, she was writing it down. So I might have been about, 5, 6 or something. I don't know. Don't have a clue. But I did start writing my words before I was 5 years old. She was getting me into it, I think, my grandma.
Beautiful. So
thank you.
This is a nice segue into, before we get on to that, just tell us about your grandma.
Yes, she was, well, first of all, here is a little oak leaf in silver from an oak tree that have seen my grandma and my mom and me grow up. Lovely. So I feel the energy there about it. So I took it when I lived in Wales. I was visiting, and then I took a leaf and I took it home. And a friend of mine in Britain was making this for me. So it's like that. But
sorry, say it again. Agnes isn't Swedish. She's English.
Agnes was Swedish.
Okay, so the oak tree was in Sweden.
Yes.
And you brought it with you to England.
Yes.
And got the silver pendant made. Okay, now I get you.
So just to have the energy of my home place with me when I lived in Wales. Yes.
Lovely, lovely.
Yes. So she was very, my grandma, she was very, she wanted to write things down. She was writing little, what do you call it? Like when you just put your words in a local newspaper, just writing things and sending it into the local newspaper. Okay. But then she didn't use her name Agnes. She was using the name Agneta, like that is my middle name, but it was like, instead of Agnes, just to be a bit, anonymous like that. But she was writing lots. And when she was I think it was 1981, she got some illness and she was afraid that she was going to die. So she was writing down every memory she had about her childhood, when she was born, how she grew up, and everything. She wanted it to continue, to the next generation and the next generation, like that, and keep it for the world, basically. So she was writing it down, but she was lucky to live another 20 years, so she could write a lot. I think she was, it was just before she was a few weeks before she was going to turn 90. I remember my mom said, we were making, buns, like cakes and things for her birthday. And my grandma said, oh, but what if I die before my birthday? My mom said, well, we use it for your funeral then, all the baking. So it was like a sarcastic laugh.
Yes.
And that actually happened because it was used on her funeral instead of on her birthday, because she died before her 90th.
Wow.
But she was amazing. She was like my extra mom. And she grew up in a little cabin with 9 siblings and 2 parents, and just a fireplace, no internet, no electricity, no sewage, no water tap, no bathtub, apart from moving it in for Christmas when everybody had a bath before Christmas. But that was like, otherwise it was just going in, swimming, going in the lake and, have a bath, something, having a little wash with the water from the well and stuff like that. So,
And there in the olden days, well, John King, who has some Sami ancestry, he's English, but in Arden American, he bathes in the stream outside his house every day.
Yes.
You'd have heard him. There's some crazy people in the world, and he does it out of sight. Anyway, I'm amazed.
Lovely.
Well, I'm a wimp, so it's just it's lovely that those threads get carried through with people, and that her writing the stories, you talking about her, preserving those little nuggets, those ways of being that are still possible. Just
it's
beautiful.
Amazing. I feel like every person have got a story to share, but not everybody is, want to share it. But I feel like everyone is important in the world, and everybody has lived their lives like a story to tell.
So tell us about her then, because you've written a book about her. That was the book you had there.
Yes.
Agnes. So, and is that in English or Swedish?
It is in Swedish, and because no other publishing company wanted to print it, and it's very local. It's a village called Grisslehamn in Swedish, but if you put Grisslehamn, then and you translate it to English, it's Pig Smile Harbor.
Oh, very nice.
So it's like Pig Smile Harbor, but it's a place that is very common for town people to go to, because it's close to the sea, and they can travel to Åland, which is close to Finland, an island between Sweden and Finland. There's a ferry going there.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful place, so lots of people go there, and it's like so it's like lots of people wanted to read my book, but it's very sort of local people. So if I just printed 200 books, and I got a few home now. You can't buy it online anymore because the publishing company, I only got a few home. So I felt like they should be here and not just lying in the publishing company and rot away. My grandma didn't want that. So I'm going to go to the village again in the summer and see if anybody else need it. Otherwise, it stays here for future generations. But it was fun. But I translated it to English in PDF thing, but just for my friends and things who wanted to read it. So, but I'm not great at it, so it's not perfect.
Well, there's lots of tributes to grandmas. They're the magic of childhood. So, can you tell us a little bit about her? What stands out about her?
One thing was that she was very clever. She took in she just took in every information in school. She loved going to school. She loved learning everything. She was curious about everything. And I feel like, yeah, you're in me, Grandma, because I'm curious about things too, you know. And she wanted history, and she wanted to learn about, you know, people and other countries and whatever. And she had no problems in school. She just took in everything, you know, in her brain. So she's got that, you know, the cleverness in her. But in those days, you know, being a woman and falling in love with a man, then you have to be a housewife and take care of the kids. So she couldn't really do much then apart from that. But she did write. So, but also one thing that stood out is that she was bullied at school because she had brown eyes and dark brown hair, and her skin got sun, you know, the sun got it brown very easily, quickly, other than the Swedish, you know,
Yes.
traditional thing where you get red first and then you get a little bit brown. But no, she just got brown straight away. So she got bullied for that she was from Morena, we call it. But the word comes from, you know, the northern Africa, Muslims. Yeah. But I mean, they just use it in Sweden for people who have dark hair and, you know, brown skin and stuff like that. But I'm still looking to see where that comes from, because, you know, I'm still curious about where the thing comes. But she was beautiful, really. I mean, maybe you can see in the, I don't know if you can see the darkness, you know.
Nurse. Yes, I can see. Was she a nurse?
Yes, she was a nurse. She loved helping people to feel well. And because of when she was young, well, no, when she was a little bit older, she was probably teenager or something, her favorite little brother died.
Okay.
And then a few years later, another brother died, and other people died, you know, during the First World War, in, you know, Spanish flu and, you know, all these things, but not so many in their family. But those two brothers died. So she wanted to, you know, help people to survive, really.
Okay.
That was her thing.
And Gabriella said, was she able to see energy in past lives also?
No, she wasn't into that. No.
Okay.
She got all into, you know, the Christianity, and she didn't, it was not like spirit in that, you know, in our way. It was, even though she was talking about, you know, elves and, you know, things like that a little bit, and was curious about it, but she wasn't not into the, you know, that. No.
So where do you think you got that?
I don't know, because I think my mother has got it in her, but she doesn't want to, you know, she doesn't talk about it much, but she can say things to me, my mother, and then it happens. And I'm like, yeah, you got your spirit and intuition, my mom. And she was like, oh, well, never mind, you know, like this. But I think it comes from the generation. I think my grandma also had it in her, but she didn't, you know, think about it or in the way that I do.
Okay. And their mother and daughter.
Yes, it's 3 lines, you know, 3 lines.
And it's interesting, you know, your ability to know things gets channeled in different ways. I remember when I was doing my training, so I'm a psychologist, and I had one of my supervisors. She was a psychodynamic psychotherapist, and she said before she became a therapist, she was very psychic, and she could read palms. And she would tell people's futures. And she was at a dinner party one night, and there was a guy who was, you know, dapper, always well dressed, a lawyer, and, you know, was headed for success. And another guy in the group who just was always dressed, you know, really shabbily, trainers and an old coat. And she predicted a very mediocre life for the lawyer guy, and a very famous life for the other guy. And he turned out to be a famous filmmaker.
Oh, wow.
Psychology, all of that got transferred. All of that awareness, that seeingness got channeled in to her psychotherapy. So she no longer read palms or looked at it like that. But it was similar skills of knowing, being intuitive, that kind of second sight that was rechanneled into psychotherapy. And I was really fascinated by that.
That's amazing. I love that too. I mean, to me, in my point of view, then we got a spirit, and the spirit is everywhere in nature, in people. You know, it's like, it's not like divided into humans, because humans, we are on this planet to learn about feelings, about pain, about, you know, human things that you can't feel if you're just an energy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got it in us, but we don't always have to believe in it or be in it, because we're supposed to be or do what we're supposed to do in this life.
And it's also paying attention to it. Now, Gunther, I don't know if you don't know Gunther. Gunther's in Switzerland. In Buddhist wisdom, it is sometimes said that there are many truths, but only one reality. Have you discovered something similar?
That the is truth. What did you say? Sorry.
That there are many truths. This is a Buddhist wisdom, but only one reality. And have you discovered something similar?
No, I think no, not really. Because I think, yeah, it can be. I mean, when you think about it, then it's very weird for me to say it. But I mean, it is just one from the start, and then it's split up into, you know, lots of humans and lots of things on this planet. So yeah, we got one from the beginning, and then all of it. But it's yeah, so it can be part of it, maybe. Yes. Maybe.
I never know, because it's like, you know, what is reality? You know, that thing about in certain traditions that the dream world is reality, or it's realer than this. So I have no idea. And of course there are many truths, and I think there are many realities, because I think is reality something, it's something that we experience rather than something that is absolute.
Yeah. I think it's, yeah. I think I dream a lot. I can wake up like 4 or 5 days a week with a dream in my mind when I wake up. Don't always have time to write it down, but I got lots of notes about dreams. And I feel like then my soul is somewhere else. My spirit is somewhere else when I'm dreaming.
And that is a reality.
Yes, another reality than the one I'm in now.
And it may be semantics. Is it a different world? Is world reality? I don't know. I don't know.
It's whatever.
Philip,
we believe in, everybody believe in. Yes.
So John says, everything we perceive is inside us. So what is reality? And that's a very good question. And we have different realities, as Philippa says, each one of us, I feel. And then Ferdiet says, I think there are many realities because reality is experiential. I think that's my point. I'm not sure if there's one truth, many truths, or no truth at all in these days. Well, absolutely. You know, when somebody says, I'm speaking my truth, it's like, whoops, all right. Another dimension. Anyway, you know, it's all of these things, and it may be all or not. And of course, it's only what each one of us in our own path, and this is what's beautiful about, you know, within Obod, that each one of us has our same teachings, the same gwers.
Yes. It's amazing.
Things.
Yes.
And we all experience that differently. Mimi says, overlaying layers and layers like tracing paper, that makes up a whole lot. Parts. Okay, connected. That's true. So just wonderful. So, oh, wait, here's Sean McCann. Okay, ever the wise one. As I've heard, the sun is 93 million miles away is a fact. That it will rise tomorrow is a truth. Which is interesting because, I mean, you know, like mythology is not about facts, but it is about truths because stories contain truth. And it's not so much about facts. And Blake says, I've long loved and been fascinated to have the Gwers speak differently to all of us. And that is the richness of this salad that makes up our order.
Yes.
But, we don't have dogma, so that it's just beautiful to be able to have that freedom
Absolutely.
within a container, because the lessons provide a container for us.
Yeah. No, I feel at home with this gang. It feels like I am sort of repeated. I am in a similar situation that I was when I went to school, because when I went to school, I was bullied and I didn't feel like I belonged. I had like one or two friends in school, maybe one in the class, but I was not the drama queen. I hated to hurt other people by doing horrible things, or being tricky or anything like that. I just wanted to be myself. But where I belonged then, that was the Salvation Army Scout group. So that's where I was belonging then. And now I feel like I'm sort of, I haven't got so many friends that I meet now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can be myself in the Obad place.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So, and Jane, of course, to throw a spanner in the works, but the sun doesn't rise, the earth moves, so it appears to rise. Well done.
Yes.
I know I saw it, Jane. Anyway, so you mentioned your life in Wales. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that's also something with my spirit and my intuition and my, me. Because in actually 1996 there, when I was studying in the Celtic things and all that, I got a feeling that I didn't know where I was supposed to be. And what I was like a crossroad. I didn't know which road to take, where to walk. And then suddenly I decided, I just put 3 things on my list that I was supposed to do. I was going to do a tattoo with the 4 elements, and I was going to change my surname, because the surname I had then was my father's surname, the father that, he was alive until January 2020, but he was never there for me, really. So I didn't really meet him a lot and stuff. So I felt like, why should I have his surname? So then I changed to Lind, my great-grandmother's name. I took her name, the surname. And then I decided to go and study in England at university, just for fun. I was a dressmaker then, so I'd already had, something to do, but, or seamstress, what we call it. But it's like, but I was like, oh no, I'm curious. I want to get out of here. I need to go somewhere else, to try something else. Just, I'm like that. And I was trying to get into Exeter University, but I didn't get in. And then I was suggested to go to De Montfort University in Leicester. I didn't even know that Leicester existed. I'd never been there, then. But then I thought, okay, then fine. I try something that I don't know about and have no clue about. And I got there on the Friday in September, some date, I can't remember. But on the Friday, I got there and moved into the, student flat. And then 3 days later, it was like an introduction week for the, for the university students. And I was looking for a room where I was supposed to be, and I didn't know where it was. And I was walking down the stairs, and then this handsome guy comes walking up the stairs, and he looks me in the eye and he said, "Oh, do you know where this room is?" And I was like, "Oh, I know, but I'm looking for the same room. So should we look together?" And he was like, "All right then." And then we looked together. Bam. Then we were together. It was love at first sight. He was a very shy guy, very shy, and didn't really like looking into, strangers' eyes much. But he was brave enough to look into my eyes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So then we were together. So then I got, and he was from North Wales, and so we got into there, and I stayed there for, what was it? Is it 12 years? Maybe it was 2 years at university. We gave up at university. We got fed up with all the drama and things with all the other students, and it was so much. So we couldn't do it. So then he started working as a roofer in his family business, and I started working in Chester in shops and stuff. But then I got pregnant, and I had a boy and 2 years in a row.
Oh, 2 boys, have you?
2 boys, yeah. It's only a year and 2 weeks between them or something. So I was pregnant for 2 years in a row.
That must have been hard.
Yes, it was really hard. But I loved being a housewife, just being home, taking care of the boys and doing the cleaning and the cooking and doing my creative side with the kids. We were doing lots of stuff together, me and the boys. And I had lots of friends with kids in the same age. So the house was very rarely empty. It was other people coming or we went to them. So it was lovely to live. We lived in Buckley, or Buckley in English, Buckley in Welsh.
Oh, where is that?
It's just on the border, just like not far from Chester.
Oh, okay.
So it's just across the border into Wales, North Wales. And it's near Mold and Flint. It's in Flintshire.
Okay, and
So
did he speak Welsh? Was he a Welsh speaker?
No, I wanted to learn Welsh, but I got too busy with other things, with the kids. So I didn't get into it. But it's funny, I remember that it was a few people that said to me when I was speaking my Swedish English, then they said, "Oh, are you Welsh?" And I'm like, "No, I'm Swedish." And they're like, "Oh," I don't know if my accent was a bit
Oh, that's
mixed.
really interesting. Brilliant.
But it was lovely, and I liked it. And that's when I got into Reiki healing. So, and I got into the angels and into past life therapy. Like, I know I did past life therapy when I gone back to Sweden, but I did got into my spirit to, channel past lives to other people through, their energy when I was in North Wales. And I felt the spirit, the energy there was very, spiritual feeling. I liked it.
Okay, so tell us your story in Wales then, a little bit more about your husband and that.
Well, my husband, he was very shy, and I think if he was young now, he would have got the diagnosis of Asperger or something, because he was very clever and very shy, and he was good at lots of stuff. He had his brain just stored all the Egyptian gods and all the Greek gods and all the mythology. He loved it. And is it H.P. Lovecraft? Isn't it like one of these story things with lots of different gods and things? I think he loved that. And but then he was also afraid. He had fear in him that other people, he was afraid of strangers and things. So he got a bit fear. And I think it was the fact that I actually accepted him for who he was. And it wasn't many people who did that, because, being so different can be hard when, even though he was very clever.
Mm-hmm.
So some people can be envious sometimes and jealous of you. But he, and then he was working on roofs and he was working with lead, and he didn't have his gloves on. So I think he got lead poisoned. He got it in him, and the doctor said that he had it in him. But I don't know. I mean, was an adult man, so I don't know if he actually did the treatment or did anything about it. But his fear got stronger. He got like illusions in his head about horrible things was going to happen, or fear of going places and things and stuff. And then he got like, he said to me that, "Oh, I can't live without you," like that. And I felt like he had disappeared. His, personality was slowly fading away. So I was like mourning, I was like really grieving him, the wonderful person he was from the beginning was like disappearing, and there was no treatment. And my natural healing abilities, or my my interest in, natural food, how it can heal the body, eating the right, stuff that can heal and get rid of heavy metal in the body. But no,
He
not
wouldn't
into
have
that. No, wouldn't. So that was like his choice. But then I was like, well, to me, if you are in a bad situation, you have to change things. You can't just be in the same situation, and expect it to change automatically. So I said, well, I think we should move to Sweden because, getting into nature more, getting into that energy, let's just change it for a bit and see what happens. And I felt like, he was like no, or we wanted to move to the countryside, but he didn't want to change it. And no, we said no, all of us. So, okay, we'll stay here then. And then suddenly he got so afraid of losing me that he tried to kill himself. I think it was like in the beginning of January 2012. Yes, 2012, beginning of January. And so then he ended up in the mental health hospital in Wrexham. And they said to me that he would come home fine and wonderful and, lovely person again. And I felt like, oh, yes. Oh, I can't wait for that, to have him the way he was. But they couldn't do it. They couldn't. He got 13 ECT. You call it that, electric in the brain, and lots of pills and stuff.
Did they help?
He came home like a zombie. There was no feelings, no smile, no nothing. And I think it's weird that they let him smoke cigarettes every hour. So he was just, I think that's poisoning people too, when you already have, the metal poisoning in you. And but he came home just thinking of nicotine, and he was worse than before. So then I said, like, no, now we have to do a big change. And I didn't want our sons to grow up with that energy. And my words were nothing. I felt like in the hospital didn't listen to anything I said. And then I get frustrated, I've got something in me. I got knowledge. I can help. I can do something. I had knowledge, and they were doing an investigation to see if he had Asperger, but they said, no, he's got nothing, but they never interviewed me about it. Nothing. So I was nothing then during that time. So I felt like I have to leave. I have to go. But I asked him if he wanted to come with me to Sweden, but he said no. He refused. So then me and the boys, and he agreed with that we were going to Sweden. He agreed with that. So we left, but he was in hospital for 3 months, and then he came home like a zombie, and he started working and, doing whatever he wanted, no matter what. And we moved. He came to visit Sweden 3 times. Yeah.
Okay.
But then I think it was about, now it's the month 2013. I don't know. He said to us, because we had we didn't have Zoom then. We had another way to video chat, in those days. And we did that. And he said that he was cutting down on the pills and he was getting better and stuff. But I don't know if he said the truth, because in April 2013, he disappeared. I got the news from his dad that he hadn't come home. And that was, I think it was the 23rd of April. And then they found him at Mulfamay in, dead. His favorite place. He chose that place. But it was like, oh, gosh, am I supposed to go through all this? But one horrible thing also is that in the paper, they were obviously interviewing our neighbors and things about it. And, because then he had lived almost for a year alone, and we were in Sweden. And in the paper, they mentioned nothing about mental health problems. It didn't exist then. There was nothing. So only mentioned in the paper that I took the boys and left for Sweden.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's a stab in the back to me, but I ignoring it because I live far away from that. So I'm like, I'm just trying to make our boys happy. I don't want them to be like their dad, not being stuck in fear and sadness all the time.
That is so heartbreaking. My heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
It's just that the helplessness around, well, I don't know. It's my husband died of cancer, but he had a good day. I mean, who I don't want to lose anyone, but I think with mental illness, the hard thing for you is that you lost him long before he went. And it's that heartbreaking. I know when Howard was in pain before it was managed, I lost him because he was so focused on trying to cope with pain. He wasn't my Howard. And then once that was managed, he came back. And it's a bit like, that promise that you were given that when he went into hospital, you'd get him back and you didn't. And I mean, how heartbreaking it is, because
horrible.
They're physically there, but not the person that you first met.
No.
Went down that corridor in university,
Yeah.
Francis says, thank you for your vulnerability and remarkable honesty, Lillian. How sad to hear what you've been through. You're a remarkable woman. Carmen says, so sad, Lillian. I went through something similar in mental health with my son. Thank goodness he's okay, but it's a long battle. Alicia says, a difficult and profound journey. Absolutely. So, and it's that hard thing. And, you make your decisions to protect your boys, to go back to where you have a secure base in some sense. And
you had to.
Yeah.
I felt like, people are like telling me that, oh, you shouldn't have done that, or you should do that. And I'm like, well, I am listening to my inner voice, that what I'm supposed to do. And it's the right for me. For some people, it's like their parents or their siblings or their husbands and, are more important than the kids. But for me, the kids are the most important for me because, he was an adult and, I'm not the mother of my husband. I'm not taking care of him like I do for my children and our children. It's just like, it's difficult, isn't it? It's hard, but life, it just goes. And he's free now, in my point. When they couldn't heal him, then he is free now. And always when somebody is suffering from illness, then it can't be healed. Then that's the way it is.
That is right. So many bless you for your strength and ability to take care of your children. That's from Jules. Mimi says you have to walk your own path. Benjamin Ben Stinson says, Lillian, wonderful. I didn't get a chance to how lovely to see you. And Sean, anticipatory grief, like losing a loved one twice, very courageous to share so openly with so many. And Catherine says, you have to do best what is right for you and yours at the end of the day. A heart from Matthias. And Maria, who's in Ireland, sending love. You're such a loving and strong person. And
thank you.
And it's great to be so open about this. How are your boys now? They're adults at this stage.
Yes, they are 21 and 22 now. So they will be 22 and 23 this year.
Okay, so they were very young. They were very young when he passed. And my daughter was 13 and my son was 16 when Howard went. And it's really hard when they lose a parent at that age.
They must have been 11 and 12 when he died. Yes. And I got the youngest one who lives at home with me. He has got his spirituality in him, because it was like when his dad died, he was like, I understand. Like he understood death. He was like, in the spirit, he was like, yeah, I understand. he's okay now, like that. And the older brother, his older brother, the older son, he's been grieving for years. He's been, in that energy. They are total opposites, but they are amazing. I love them. They are IT guys.
Okay.
And the younger one, who's got the spirituality in him, he's got Asperger, autism, and he got that when he was 6 years old in North Wales. So he's had it all his life. But he's clever. He takes in everything, and he's actually refused to drink alcohol. He refused to take cigarettes. He refused to drink cola or anything like that. And he explained to me that I don't want to do it because I want to save my brain. I want to keep my brain safe and not drinking any alcohol and things. So he's great. But they're both great in different ways. They're amazing, clever.
How did they navigate the move from Wales to Sweden at that young age?
I mean, they were quite all right, actually, because the older one, he was always into Sweden. He was wearing a Swedish football T-shirt when he was, not in school, but, on the side of the school. And when I said to him that, oh, we can move to Sweden, he was like, yeah, I'm on it. I'm going with you. And he was like 10 years old then. And he was about to be 11 that year. But it's like, and the younger one, he was like, oh no, I don't want to move. And then I mentioned to the younger one then, he said to me, well, we're going to move to a place where you can walk for 10 minutes to the beach. And he was like, okay, I'm coming. So they got into it slowly, at school and things. But I mean, I had to be with them at school. I had to be the support thing for the younger one with the diagnosis. They didn't have any support at school here for him, so I had to do that. So I couldn't work. I had to be with him.
Okay.
To protect him and save him. Mm.
Wow. You've worked incredibly hard.
Thank you. Yes, I'm doing what feels right for my kids. They have to. I don't want them to be in pain or,
And that's a tall order. You strike me as such an incredibly giving person, and
Thank you.
I know Timey says, I'm so sorry about those experiences in your life. It's tragic to have to see that people have such strong channel vision and only judge the cover of the book again, perfectly serving their prejudice. Blessings to you, for you and your son. And Cherry says, life is for living. So true. Gracious and courageous lady. Such a wise young man. That's about your son.
Thank you. Yes.
Lisa says, wise choices. And then Alicia says, a mother's love. And and I mean, and not only that, I mean, I hear no resentment about your husband. I hear compassion, and you're working on a book about him.
Yes, I am doing that because I have felt for a few years now that, I am sometimes when I'm just with myself and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm the goddess of truth. I'm like, I love the truth. I am like Sherlock Holmes. I want to know the details about things, and I don't want to hide things, things like that. And I wanted it to come out. I mean, what happened, and his amazing artwork that unfortunately I can't show you here on the screen, but it's like he did write, draw and paint the thoughts in his head into artwork. I mean, for years. Even he was such a good artist, but he was so shy. He couldn't, be publicly, like that. So he's done lots of art about even pictures of, the gods or, these mythology things, creatures or mermaids and, things like that. But also natural things like seashells and, beautiful natural things as well. But also what's going on in his mind. And it could be like, like clouds going up when he's like too much thinking in his head. I think he said to me when we were at university, he said to me like, well, Lillian, can it not be a button where I can turn this brain off for a minute, like this? And I said, sorry, can't make that. But it was like too much going on. So it was too heavy, and it was too heavy thoughts. and he created it in art, and I feel like it has to come out. I want to show it, but I'm waiting for a publishing company in England to answer, and I hate waiting for it. I want the answer. But we'll see. I got 2 publishing companies in England I'm waiting for, but I'm just hoping. Otherwise, I have to do it in a different way, you know.
Okay. Have you written the book?
I've written it, but it's short words. It's not so much. It's just short about his personality, and it's about his school, you know, his education. As I done like 4 different chapters in it. So it's about his personality and you know, art, about that, and then his school and education and what he did, you know, when he went to university and all that, because he studied fine art and history of art and design at De Montfort University. And I did modern history and history of art and design. So we had, you know, some common things. And then it's about love and what he did when we were together and with the kids. And he loved drawing the trains, you know, Festinio Railway in Northern Wales. We went there a lot. And he did draw the trains and the engines in lovely drawings. And then the dark ones, the really dark ones. And then he did the beautiful painting of the death god in the Egyptian mythology, you know, like the old Egyptian gods. Anuki, I don't know, I can't remember, but it's like beautiful. It's like in paint, like really with colors and things, and it's I feel like, yeah, that's good. But he did draw one in just sketching. He did like a picture of himself, like it's in a mirror, and then the mirror is broken, so it's like, you know, in it. And then there is like one of those time, you know, with sand in, you know.
Yes, the timers. Yeah, egg timers.
Yeah, timers, you know, one of them on there. And then there's a clock. And I can see how afraid, you know, in the face, the fear in the face. So it feels like the mirror is broken, you know, that's not good, is it? And the time, and like, oh, time's running out, or, you know, things like that. So it's like, yeah, there's lots of stuff. So I feel
Bonnie
like it.
says, I myself am walking myself home from a recent suicide episode, and I did all I could to protect my kids from it, and the ones around me let it slip, particularly my kids. She says, I praise you for your protection of the kids. And Amy says, it's working of pain and suffering and can turn into a single breath, or can turn in a single breath to wonder and joy. The tides rise and fall.
Yes.
Okay. And then Lisa says, we have some neurodiversity in my family, and mindfulness and stopping thoughts is a very important practice for a lot of us. Challenging, but also very important coping skills. Art is important in my life. I've been working on making a graphic story a study.
Wonderful.
Yes. So I think also it'll be, hopefully you'll get published soon to be able to.
I hope so.
Yes. And John says, sounds like a wonderful tribute to your love. Yeah.
Yes, they are sold. I did one page was like in memory of Andrew Pay. That's his name.
Yeah. So I'm you know, I usually ask questions, you know, a challenge you've overcome. I think you've already talked about that.
I already told that to me.
The most proud of, or the most reckless thing. What are you grateful for?
I am always grateful. I'm grateful every day. I can be grateful for whatever I've done during the day. I'm grateful for being me. I love myself, but it doesn't mean I'm selfish. I love myself in my heart and my spirit, but I also care about everything and everyone else. And I want everyone. I can talk to anyone, you know. I'm not shy to people. And when I go to McDonald's or something and somebody's cleaning up, I say to that person, "Oh, you're doing a great job," you know. And she's like, "Oh gosh, yeah, okay, thank you." Like the surprise, like that. But I mean, everyone is important. But it's like, so I'm grateful for being here, even though I'm also sometimes can be crying for little things, or for, you know, whatever. But then in the end of the day, or like waking up in the morning, I'm like, yeah, a new day, new possibilities. Yeah, let's see what happens. you know.
And you know, I just think if only your husband had had that outlook, and just couldn't, close but not, you know, just not attainable for him. That is so sad.
I tried.
Yes, I know, and you know, each person has to do it for themselves. I mean,
Yes.
Lisa says, you've done so well for your children. Blessings to you.
Thank you.
Ferdiet says, conversations like this one are so powerful and important, as we need to be able to talk more openly about our mental health struggles and the weather in our minds. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and to you and Bonnie, you know, just, you know, having it, there's so much support here for the two of you, you know, and admiration for being able to deal with this. But talking about it is really, really important.
Oh, yes.
I know it less so now, but I grew up, there was a stigma. There were very little statistics, very low statistics for suicide in Ireland. Number one, it was a crime. And then, you know, given that we were predominantly Catholic, you couldn't get a Christian burial. And now all that's changed, and there's lots of conversations about it.
Good.
But it's just whether the mental health treatment are helping, I don't know. So, you know, there's traditional models of mental health treatment isn't always particularly working well. It didn't work for your husband, and I know for other people, and for some it does. So I won't disagree completely. However, and Cherry says, "Love is the cup we yearn to drink, and we yearn to drink our fill from," and that's very, very important. So you've done incredibly well.
Thank you.
Before we finish, a concern that you have about the modern world?
I got lots of concerns about the modern world. Lots of people say that I'm way too much in the past, but to me, it's not bad to be in the past, you know, being interested in the knowledge and how amazing it was 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. And I can see the truth about now. And I can also see why it happens, but not everything I'm supposed to say to everyone. But it's like, I can be very sad about things right now, because I feel like we're getting down in the pit about this planet and people in general, and not taking care of, you know, ourselves, and we don't realize what is actually important in life. You know, water, earth, fire, and air is the ones that are important for humans. But it is the way it is. And in my mind, why I am, you know, this cheerful is because I feel like everything happens for a reason. Okay. And whatever mistakes we make in life is supposed to teach us something. But I can get sad and upset when people don't want to learn anything from, you know, the mistakes and just continue doing them over and over again. But that's me. But everybody live their life the way it is. So I don't like to be in anger and, you know, hate or anything, but I can be sad about it.
Yeah, I was just watching a film about risking forgiveness. I was also attending the Mystics and Scientists conference it's online. So there was a panel discussion on, but I watched this film about 4 people, one from Cambodia, one from who was one of the stolen generation in Tasmania, and one woman, a Black American woman whose son was murdered, and how she forgave the other boy who killed him, how they became close friends. And each of them talking about forgiveness and the struggle. And it was fascinating how it's not forgiving and forgetting. It's about never forgetting, but forgiving to the extent that you are letting go the hold the pain has on you.
So good. So good.
And, you know, you're not living in the past, but you are looking to the past. Some people get stuck in the past. They get stuck in their own past. You're not. But you're interested to going back and looking at history, because I think we have an awful lot to learn. But what did they say? The one thing, what is it? One thing we learn from history is that we never learn anything from history or something like that. People don't learn from mistakes, which is a pity. And
yeah.
Sean is, you know, and it's about being able to let go that hold has on you. And yeah, John, he watched it. I thought I saw you there. So powerful, and the role of forgiveness was transformational. And I think forgiveness is really, really important. The only thing is, no one can tell you should forgive. I don't want to be told by anyone that I should forgive. It is something I get to myself when I make a decision. I don't want it to have a hold on me. I don't want it controlling me, because that's what it does. Resentment controls you. And I think when you can move to forgiveness, you're freeing yourself. You're not freeing the perpetrator, but you're freeing yourself. But,
I mean, when it's the right time, then it happens.
Right. Oh yeah, there's a process. Sean says sometimes it's helpful to reframe the past as memory and the future as imagination. Yes. Carmen says we always stumble on the same stones. Yes. Brilliant. So many people are saying thank you. And so my final question, what is your favorite season of the year, and what is your favorite ceremony, you know, on the wheel of the year?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I sort of like every season of the year, but at the end of every season, I'm looking forward to the next season. So it's like, you know, a mix. At the end of the summer, I'm looking forward to making a fire because it's been so warm in the summer. I'm looking forward to the snow and making a fire, you know, in the winter and stuff like that. But I do like springtime, because then it's like, well, not exactly April, but May is like my favorite thing. When I can, you know, it's warmth and I can start doing things, but it's not too hot and it's not so many mosquitoes in the air, and you know they haven't woken up yet. So it's like it's always something good and bad with every season. So I like all of them. That's why I kind of like living in Sweden, because there's snow in the winter and you know, rain in the spring and rain in the autumn, and then snow in the winter and sun in that.
Sunshine in the summer.
Sorry?
Sunshine in the summer.
Yeah, well, sometimes. Last summer we had super hot in June, and so I think it was in the beginning of July as well, or I can't remember really. But then we had about almost like 2 months with rain.
Same here.
At the end of the summer, so it got like everything got completely wet. But people have been complaining about it a lot. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, water. Why don't we need water? Rain is important, but we as humans, we can really get annoyed by it because it's just in the way, really bad. But I like it. But I like the ceremonies, you know, all of them really. But I mean, winter solstice and summer solstice is like, yeah, that's my thing.
Oh, okay. Francis, who's in Finland, here across the water in Lapland, you get snow. We get snow in the summer, autumn, winter, and spring.
Oh,
look at you.
That's the way it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So I let you say goodbye to everybody, and then don't go away, and we can just look at the comments together. So I let you say good. Okay. Well, you're an hour ahead. You're what, 10:30 where you are at night.
Yes. Well, I thank you so much for everyone who came here and joined us, and thank you for the comments, and thank you for the care. Thank you for being here.
Okay, I'll see you soon. So thank you all for your comments. Absolutely. And it was lovely to have you here and join us for this conversation. And I'm going to be on retreat this next week. So it'll be the week after that I'll be back for another Fireside Chat. In the meantime, may you all be well and taking good care of yourselves and others. So enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, or if you are watching a recording of this chat. And I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, slán go fóill.